Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica, and I'm part of the Global Schoolhouse Initiative team. I am a content developer and actually developed this lesson that I'm about to teach you today. And we're just going to show you just how easy it is for our emergency education curriculum to be taught by anyone, anywhere. And if you can hear my little 4-month-old baby in the background, that's okay, because we're just here to show you how easy it is to use our program curriculum and provide education to people around the world. So we just want to start off by saying a big thank you today for donating to watch one of our lessons. And we are a Canadian registered charity that provides emergency education online to children around the world who usually don't have access to school. And we focus on resilience education, which is why we chose to share one of our peace education lessons with you today. We currently have 3 locations, and they are in 2 in Mexico and 1 in Uganda. And we are planning to expand to 2 new locations in Colombia and Indonesia this year. Very exciting stuff. So your donations help us to create new curriculum and to help send our global school all around the world. So today you'll get to experience what some of our students get to experience every day when they get to go to school. And thank you again so much. If you are a parent who donated, thank you for donating. If you are a child who is about to take the lesson with me, thank your parents for donating. And let's get started. Okay, so here we are. Thank you for joining our lesson today. This is a grade 3 lesson on peace education. So let's just think of our essential question, and that's the question that we want to keep in our minds throughout the whole lesson. And today's question is, how can we live peaceful lives at home and in our community? How can we live peaceful lives at home and in our community? So just something to think about throughout our lesson. I know a lot of you who may be watching this video right now due to social distancing are home. And this is still something that we can practice every day in our lives, whether we're not able to go out in our community as much as we want to, or if one day we are and we do go out and visit different places. Being peaceful comes from inside. And so today we're going to get some practice on how we can do that just a little bit better. Let's start like we do every day with our breathing, stretching, and motto. And today our affirmation is, I learn from my challenges and can always find ways to overcome them. So let's just start by stretching our arms up to the sky and saying, hello, sun. Taking a deep breath in and out and pushing your feet into the ground, rooting yourself. Hello, sun. And now stretching our arms down to the ground, touching the floor and saying, hello, earth. Oh, hello, earth. Can you feel the ground? Pushing your hands and your feet into the floor. Let's stretch to one side and say hello to our animal friends. Can you think of an animal while you're stretching? I'm going to think of my dog. It's actually my dog's birthday today. And so I'm going to think of my dog, Phil, and say, happy birthday, Phil. And now let's stretch to the other side and say, hello, friends. Can you say hello to someone who might be taking this lesson with you? Or someone you miss and you can think of? I'm going to say hello to my son, Easton. Hello, Easton, over there babbling. Oh, he says hello back. And come back. And I'm just going to take a moment to stand tall and repeat our affirmation. I learn from my challenges and can always find ways to overcome them. So I want you right now to imagine if we were all the same. I want you to look around. You might be taking this class by yourself. Maybe you have a sibling or someone who lives at your house who's taking it with you. If you are all by yourself and you feel more comfortable, you can pause this video now and go grab a couple stuffed animals or pictures of family members who you miss, and you can put them around you to kind of help you feel like you're with some other people. If not, you can take the class by yourself and just imagine them in your mind like I'm going to do right now. So I want you to imagine for a second if we were all the same. Think about people in your lives. What if we all wore the same clothes, had the same hair color, and all had the same interests? I like to dance and everyone else liked to dance too. I liked soccer and everyone else liked soccer. We all felt the same things. Sometimes I'm feeling sad being home in my house all day. And sometimes I'm happy when I go outside and I get to see passing neighbors and we wave from across the street. But what if everyone's experiences were the same as mine? Well, it might be kind of cool, but it might get kind of boring. How would life be different if we were all the same? Take a moment to really think about your answer. If you want to and no one's there and we're going to talk about it with someone, you can jot it down on paper too. I'm going to think about it too. How would life be different if we were all the same? What are you thinking? Share your ideas with someone or just say them out loud. I'm thinking life might be different if we were all the same because I wouldn't be able to learn as many things from other people. Sometimes I don't realize I like something until someone else tells me that they like it and they teach me about it. And if I wasn't feeling that way to begin with, I might miss out on that opportunity. For example, I didn't realize that I really liked to do karate until my dad started to show me some karate moves. And then I realized the more I learned, I kind of liked it. If we were all the same, I would have never had that thought to begin with. So that's one way that life would be different if we were all the same. Do you think that life would be boring if we were all the same? Think about that for a moment. I'm going to think out loud. I think in the beginning, it might be kind of cool if we were all the same because I love to dance and everyone around me would love to dance too. So we could dance all day long. But I think as time goes on, it would get kind of boring. I think having different people around is kind of what makes life exciting, that you get to, like I said, learn from different people. What are you thinking? Maybe you think it would be fun and it wouldn't be boring if everyone was the same. Maybe you have an interest that you don't know anyone else who has that same interest. And so for you, if everyone was the same, that'd be totally awesome. I think we all have to make our own opinions, but it's good to think about it because we're not all the same. People are different. And we're all unique. What does unique mean? Well, unique is what makes us special. It's what makes us different from everybody else around us. And we are all unique. Sometimes it's hard to notice how we all are different, but we really are. So while being different might sometimes make you feel like you're not like everybody else, being different is actually really cool because, like I said, it makes us unique. So, what makes me different and what makes me the same? It's important to try to look beyond what we see, feel, and think and try to find ways to connect to others. Take a moment and think about what makes you different from other people. It can be other people in your house. It can be other people in your class at school. It could be other people in your family or your community. And even other people in your country or in the world. If you have a partner to turn and talk with a partner. If not, you can say your answers out loud or you can write them down. I'm going to write a few down. Take a few minutes to discuss the question. What makes me different? here's some things I thought of. Well, I like to be silly a lot. And that makes me different because I'm an adult and some people think adults should be serious all the time, but I like to be silly. And I know that definitely sets me apart from some other people. I also always can find something to laugh at. When things are really not going my way, sometimes I just stop and I say, I could laugh about this now, or I could laugh about this in 5 years. And I choose to laugh about it now. Like, for example, the fact that in order for me to write all these things down so you can see them on the computer, I'm writing them backwards. Another thing is I'm obsessed with my dog. I'm really obsessed with my dog, Phil, and some people think that makes me a little different, but it's all I know. What makes you different? Now let's stop and think, what makes me the same? What makes me the same as other people? Do the same thing. Turn and talk with a friend. Think about what makes you the same, and then come back and we'll share. Or if you don't have a friend there, write it down, say it out loud, say it in your head. It doesn't matter. It's just that we're thinking about it that helps. Hi, I'm back. And I have a little buddy with me, my son, Easton. So when we left off, we were thinking about what makes me the same. And here's what I came up with. Well, we all want to be accepted. We all want love, and we all need help. These are some things I thought that everyone can kind of relate to. Everybody wants to be accepted, whether you are the same or if you're different. We all want to be loved by someone. It feels great to be loved, right? And we all need help from time to time, whether you're a kid, an adult, a grandparent, anyone. There's always a time where you need help. And when you need help, you need to be able to count on other people to help you. So which one of these questions was easier for you to answer? What makes us different or what makes us the same? What do you think? I think for me, surprisingly, what makes me different was a little bit harder for me to think of because I wanted to think of something that actually set me apart from other people. And some of the things I thought of initially, it was kind of the same as other people. So I think finding some things that made me different was a little bit more challenging for me. What about you? Did you find that question to be more difficult, or did you find what makes you the same to be more difficult? So there are so many reasons why people are different. Sometimes it's easier for you to notice the differences between yourself and others than it is to notice what is the same. And sometimes it can be hard to understand other people's perspectives or how they think and how they feel. And that can make it hard to connect with other people. These feelings can take place at home, with people you know, and even strangers who you've never met before. Have you ever felt that way? Have you ever saw someone or interacted with someone and had a hard time relating to them? You didn't quite have the same interests as them, or maybe you had too much in common with them, and it was just hard to relate to them. Well, that happens a lot because people are all different, and everybody has a different perspective. What's important is that we can accept the differences in others. What does that mean? Accepting differences in other people can be hard. But by asking some questions to really get to know people, we can try to find different ways to accept other people's differences. I want you to take out a piece of paper and think of some questions that you can ask to someone that will help you learn more about them. Questioning is a really good technique. I teach fourth grade also, and I tell my students all the time, sometimes it's hard to find similarities with you and other people. And a great way to start is to always ask somebody some questions. And a great question to start with is, tell me about yourself. But today we're going to think of some specific questions that we can ask people that can help us to learn a little bit more about them. I'm going to write down some of my questions here on a piece of paper, and I'd like for you to do the same. You can either write them down on a piece of paper, type them into an iPad, but just have them ready so that in our next activity, you know what those questions are. Okay, I'll be right back. Hope you're doing the same. Okay, I have my questions. Let me read you a couple of them. Are they similar to the questions you wrote down? One of my questions is, what is one thing you're afraid of? Another question is, who is your role model? And the third question I have is, what is one happy memory you made today? I have a couple other questions too, but what we're going to do right now is we're going to ask our questions to someone, but we might need to get creative. I'm here only with Easton, and unfortunately, he can't talk to me. Maybe you're by yourself too. You can pause this video and you can go ask your mom or your dad or a grandparent or someone that you live with. But if they're busy, maybe doing some other work, you could also maybe ask if it's okay to call a family member on the phone or talk to a sibling who might also be there watching this lesson with you. Or you might have to just hold on to these questions and you can ask somebody them later. But it's good to think about what their answers might be. I'm going to call my mom up and I'm going to ask my mom some of these questions and see if I can learn a little bit more about her. Hey, Mom. Hi. I'm taking this lesson online and I have a couple questions. I'm hoping I can learn more about you. So do you mind if I ask you a couple? Great, thanks. The first question is, what's one thing you're afraid of? Really? Let me write that down. Thanks, Mom. Love you. Bye. So hopefully you were able to ask someone or call someone or interact with someone and ask them some questions. If not, you can always ask them later. I called my mom up and I asked her some questions. One of them was, what is one thing you were afraid of? And she told me losing people you love. And I thought that was interesting because I didn't think that was something that she was afraid of. And now that I think about it, I'm kind of afraid of that too. So we have something in common. I'm glad I was able to ask her those questions and learn a little bit more. Can you share some things that you learned about someone else that you asked these questions to? And I want you to think about this. How does that change your opinion of them? Well, it kind of changes my opinion of my mom because it makes me realize how important the time that we have is. If she's afraid of losing people that she loves, and I know I'm someone that she loves, even just being home away from her during this social distancing can be kind of hard. And so I think it's really important that we make the most of the time we have together. And it's making me think of her differently because it's making me realize sometimes having silly little arguments isn't really worth it. What's more important is building really good memories. How do you think about the people that you ask these questions to differently? Does your opinion of them change? How can talking to others and asking questions help you learn more about them? Now that we did this activity, what are you thinking? I think it can help us learn things that we don't often talk about. And sometimes asking questions is a good way to learn more about someone and to go deeper into who they really are. So, family life. All families are different. Each family has different family members. They have different roles and tasks that they do and different needs. They think differently, feel differently. They even eat different foods. But one thing that is always the same is that every family is unique. Within each family, we have the ability to understand each other and our differences. Or we can also choose to not be understanding. Sometimes it's our own family members that we have the hardest time being patient with. Have you ever felt that way? Sometimes I feel like I'm more patient with my friends than I am with my family. I wonder why that is. That may occur because our families give us unconditional love. And I don't know about you, but I know sometimes if I'm having a really hard day, if I kind of take out my frustration on my family, they're going to forgive me because they have unconditional love for me. So sometimes I do that. And even though I feel bad about it, I feel safe with them. And so I can express my feelings and how I feel. Does that ever happen to you? I want you to take a moment and again, stop and talk with a partner or write some things down. What are some things that stress you out when you're at home? Go ahead, think about it. Okay, so name some things if you have a partner to talk about and they shared with you some things that stress them out. Maybe you can provide them with some advice. All right, so here are some things that stress me out. Sometimes trying to balance getting all my work done and getting the house clean and the dishes, that can be really stressful, especially now when we're kind of stuck inside all day. Do you have any advice for me for how I can help relieve my stress? Shout them out at the screen. Maybe if you shout loud enough, I'll be able to hear you. What was that, Easton? Oh, Easton thinks I can count on other people and ask other people for help. I think that's a great idea. Easton, can you help me do some dishes later? I don't know if that worked out so well, but it's worth a shot. I could probably ask my husband too, and I know he would be willing to help me. What did you think of that stresses you out? I have a couple questions for you that might be able to help you deal with these things and to help your family life be even more enjoyable at home, even when you are stressed, when you can really count on them. So, thinking about how you can deal with your stress is something that's really important. And I want to ask you, can you use your words to communicate to your family in a way that will help them understand what you need and also help you understand what they need? Using certain I statements can really help. I'm going to show you what that looks like. If I'm really stressed out with all the housework I have here, there's two different ways I could ask my husband, Dom, for help. Dom, I need you to help me do work. I'm overwhelmed and it's your job too. Asking him like that might not make him respond in the most appropriate and positive way to me, but I can use an I statement to say it a little bit differently. Watch. Dom, I'm feeling really stressed out and I'm having a hard time balancing all the work that I have to do at home. I was wondering if you could give me some help. I know you're really busy at work too, but even if we just help each other out a little bit, it'll make me feel a lot better. Do you think you can help me out with that? Which one do you think is going to get a more positive response from my very busy working husband, Dom? I agree. The second one. Can you think of a way that you can express to your family using I statements how you're feeling stressed out so that your family life can be happier and that you can communicate better? Go ahead, give it a try. I really liked some of the things I'm pretending that I heard and that I saw. So great job. Remember, this kind of communication takes time and practice, but we're all different. And so communicating the right way can help us to understand each other's differences and our similarities even better than before. So I wanted to think about some different families. I'm reading a book right now called Counting by Sevens, and it is by Holly Goldberg Sloan, Counting by Sevens. And it's about a little girl. I've only just started the book, but from right off the bat, it's about a little girl who's adopted. And that family is already different from my family. So what can we learn from different families, even though we're all different? Well, here are some examples. Different families still love each other. I'm learning that in the book too. Being adopted means that the little girl, Willow, was brought into a family that loves her automatically and unconditionally. And even though I'm not adopted, both of our families love each other. Different families still want the best for each other. I know my parents want the best for me, and from what I'm learning in the book, it's the same for her parents. They want the best for her. Different families still want to be good people. I think everybody wakes up every day and says, today, I'm going to try to be a nice person. Sometimes we make mistakes or say things that maybe aren't the best show of our character, but I don't think we wake up and say, today, I'm not going to be a nice person. So we all want to do good things. Which brings me to number 4. We all try to act our best. I said, it might be hard sometimes, but we're always trying. Do you feel like it's hard sometimes to act your best? I agree. It's not always the easiest thing, but as long as we keep trying every day, we can only get better. And different families still can accept others. Sometimes you might not quite understand how another family works or why they are the way they are, but we have the ability to accept each other. And remember some strategies that we learned throughout this lesson that can help us. Thinking of things that make us the same and that make us different, and also asking questions. So by getting to know people more and asking them in a nice, polite way using I statements, we can find out a lot more about people, which will help us to accept them. Can you think of some different families in your community and how you might be the same and from them, even though you have your own differences? Go ahead, try it for a second. So how can you live peacefully with others? Well, we've done a lot of work today, and we've thought about different ways that we can live peacefully with others. Here are some additional suggestions. You can smile. Smiling is one of the best ways to show somebody that you're interested in them, or just that you wish them the best. Sometimes a smile can totally change somebody's day. Have you ever been walking around and you're having a really bad day and all of a sudden someone smiles at you and you can't help but notice that now you're smiling too? Smiling releases endorphins in your body. Endorphins are like happy chemicals. And when you smile, it actually makes you feel better. So the next time you're noticing that you might not be living your most peaceful life, try smiling and see if it makes you feel a little bit better. You can also talk to others. I know right now with social distancing that might be a little difficult, but we can get creative. We can call someone on the phone. We can write someone an email, send someone a text. We can use social media. We can even scream from a safe distance. Hello, neighbor. But talking to other people is another way that you can find peace with others. You can ask questions. Remember, sometimes you might want to ask a question that you're embarrassed or afraid to ask. But if you practice asking it the right way and you word it using I statements and you're just showing that you're genuinely interested, people are normally willing to share their experiences and their answers with you. So ask questions to others, learn about others, try to find out more about what makes us the same and what makes us different. Spend time with others. Again, another difficult one with social distancing, but we can get creative. We can spend time video chatting with them or write them a letter and they can spend time writing a letter back to us. Even though we're not right there with the person, we're still kind of like spending time being invested in them. We can spend time with people in our own house. Even though we are stuck at home right now, we're in this great opportunity to spend a lot of time with people. And so we can find different ways to spend time. What about that dusty game that's just sitting in the corner? Can you whip it out and we can play it together? Or what about finding a fun challenge you can do, like baking something together or drawing a picture and seeing whose picture is better or whose recipe came out more like the one you found online? So you can find different ways to spend time with other people. You can look for similarities. What do we have in common? What's the same about us? What's different? Maybe make a list. There's this fun activity I have my students do sometimes where you put your chairs next to each other where you're facing each other. And you think of things that make you the same or that make you different. And every time you think of something that makes you the same, you come closer. And every time you think of something that makes you different, you move your chairs further apart. And you keep going back and forth until you see how far apart you end up or how close together you end up. The point of the game doesn't really matter how far or how close you are. It's how many different things we can share with somebody. And it just makes it fun to kind of see visually if we have more things that are the same or more things that are different. And remember, differences aren't bad. Differences are what make you unique. Can you think of 2 more ways that you can live peacefully with others? Easton had a great suggestion. He said you can listen to others. I think that's really important. Sometimes making sure you listen to what other people say can be a really great way to live peacefully with them. And another suggestion that I have is you can stretch and meditate. Sometimes finding peace comes from within, and you have to find peace within yourself so that you can put it out there to the world. So taking some slow, deep breaths can help you get into a really peaceful state of mind, which can help you live more peacefully with others. Were your 2 examples different from mine? I'm kind of hoping they were, because it just further goes to show how cool our differences are. Community. I want us to think about our community. Like I said before, there's so many different ways that we can live peacefully with others. Smiling, talking, asking questions. If you did this lesson by yourself, I'd love for you to share with your parents or a sibling or your grandparents or anybody who will listen to you later what you learned throughout this lesson and talk to them about it. Maybe ask them some questions and see what they say. Does it make it easier for you to connect to them? What do you think, Easton? Does it make it easier? Right now, I'm listening to what he's saying, and he's saying it's time for a nap. And so let's move on to our exit ticket. I want you to work in groups or create a skit with your stuffed animals or your puppets or your imaginary friends or a real person where you can find a problem in your family or your community that can be solved by acting peacefully and accepting others. And when you're done, you can act it out. The great thing about acting it out is you get to kind of go through the motions, and it's really a great way for you to see how different people can do different things. So maybe what you act out is totally different from what someone else acts out. And it's just fun to act it out and sometimes play a different person. Here's my skit. The problem is Easton's ready for a nap, but mommy is still creating a video. Let's see if we can find a way to peacefully work this out together. Hey, Easton, I can tell by you crying that you've kind of had enough. I think it might be time for you to take a nap and maybe have a bottle. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I'm supposed to be recording this video. Well, I guess we've kind of learned a lot, and there's nothing else really I have to say. So a peaceful way him and I can work this out together is I can pause this video and go take care of him for a moment. And if I have to, I'll come back. I really enjoyed this lesson with you today. I hope you did too. Easton and I say goodbye. And again, let's just remember, we're all different, and that's what makes each of us unique. Bye.